Welcome to the Coffee and Questions podcast. I am your host, Michelle Berman-Michael, and my mission with this podcast is simple: to help realtors and loan officers across the world tap into the value Instagram can have for them and their business. To me, organic business that comes to us is the name of the game. On this show, you're going to hear from myself, other experts across social media, and also others that are just like you, selling real estate and doing loans and doing it at a high level on social media. Welcome back to another episode of the Coffee and Questions podcast. I am joined by a very special guest today. Not only is she an amazing human, but she also happens to be a client of ours who has been with us for quite a while now. I think going on about a year and a half or so. Julie Dedmon is an originating branch manager with Geneva Financial, and we are going to have a really special and also very pertinent conversation to what's going on in the industry right now. Let's start on the DM side for you. So for those of you guys who are listening and wondering, like, what is DM? That just stands for direct message on Instagram. Now, for those of you guys who are wondering, like, why would I be sending DMs, or am I supposed to be? The answer is absolutely yes. And Julie, you're so good at this. So I just want you to tell our audience, when you're sending DM messages to people, what do you feel and what do you do as that conversation evolves?
So I love that you asked me that, because this literally took me, I'm going to have to say probably years to wrap my brain around, how do I have conversations with people on this platform where I don't even know them, right? Well, the whole point of social media, I don't care what platform it is, but let's talk Instagram specifically, is to be social. And so when I finally, I think, figured out that if I'm looking at someone's story and I laugh out loud, I should let them know that. Just like if we were sitting on the couch next to each other, right? Like, what's funny, Michelle? Like, that was a good one. Or if they ask a question, if I have an interest in having a relationship with them, right, or being friends with them, answer their question, right? Engage with them and talk to them. So it took me a long time to wrap my head around that. But when somebody posts about something, we all want to be seen and heard. So actually look at what they posted, maybe listen to their message, read their caption, and then engage with them in that message. If there's a commonality, highlight that. And just like you would gravitate towards someone in a group setting, in a room, right, in a personal space, you gravitate towards certain people online. So talk to them.
Yeah.
I mean, it really can be that easy.
It is that easy. And I have a presentation that I am doing here in the next few days. And one of the things that I really want to pinpoint on is that what you're talking about, Julie, is prospecting. And so many people think spending time on Instagram is a waste of their time, or the flip side of it, which is I'm spending time on Instagram because I know I'm supposed to, but I'm just checking the social media box. Right? Yay, I posted on Instagram today. Okay, but what is that doing for you? Right? So what we're talking about here is, again, having conversations in our DMs is not like, oh, I just have nothing else to do while my spaghetti cooks on the stove, so I might as well. No, it is quite literally how we grow our business in a very digital market as a whole now, and a shifting market.
Total 22 years ago, I mean, we had pagers, right? We didn't have cell phone in business. We had our office phone. We didn't have free, mind you, social media to advertise ourselves in this business. It was whatever you could peddle on your own and or phone calls you could make. I've tried to go back to that old school way of thinking, right? And just picking up the phone and calling people, and it works for some. But I can tell you that if I can't get a hold of you on the phone, I can surely get a hold of you in DMs.
Yep.
9 times out of 10.
It
took me a long time to be a believer too, but legit. So like what you say, right? Lead generating, that is an activity. Now, if you're just scrolling, that's wasting time. But if you have your target and you know who you want to go after and you are purposefully lead generating with it, it's one of the best tools by far. Best.
Yeah. And I think right now, right, if we talk about the shifting market as a whole. Like, let's get really honest with everybody here and say, the market is contracting. Everybody's feeling this immense amount of pressure. I feel it as a business owner, right? You feel it as a business owner. You feel it as somebody who's trying to grow a team, or even maintain a team for that matter. And the reality is that what do we have to do right now in order to make sure that we matter in 2 or 3 years, or that we're around in 2 to 3 years, where other people won't be, right? And I've been working with loan officers and real estate agents exclusively now since 2018. And the amount of conversations and bounced emails, this is wild, right? The amount of bounced emails I've gotten in the last 6 months from people who have said, I'm no longer in the industry, or I'm no longer, doing loans, is insane. So what's your team look like right now? Let's talk about that, right? And then why are you okay with where your team is at right now?
So my team has shrunk by just over 50% from 6 months ago. Why does my team look that way? This is the season that separates the men from the boys. I mean, quite literally, right? You are either going to do the work and you're going to put it in for 40 hours a week plus, because I can tell you easily, I'm spending 80 hours a week lead generating, right? So you're putting in the work or you're not. This isn't a part-time job for you. If this is a part-time job, you're already out, and or you're totally okay without making income in this profession, right? And so, quite frankly, those individuals on my team that are no longer with us, and it breaks my heart. I am very close to every single person that is on my team. They are my family. So it's like losing a family member that I get to see on an everyday basis when they're not around. But as a business owner, I can't run a business that way. We are here to make a profit and have clients and generate. And the only way to do that right now in this contracting market is to be doubling down on your activities. Figuring out what are those identifiable activities that you're going to do on a regular basis and executing on them day after day after day. This is a long game right now, and either people are going to stick with it or they're not.
Yeah. And one thing you've done super, super well, and kind of the whole premise of this conversation and why I was so excited to have it with you, is you've figured out where your zone of genius is, which is talking to people, and which is loving on people and creating the relationship with people. And what you've now done is you've mirrored that love of people and having these conversations with how you prospect. And for me, I made this kind of half-assed funny to one of my team members the other day. And I said, if I picked the top 100 most influential people in my industry that I knew I needed to have a relationship with in order for my business to continue to grow, how long would it take me to go spend time with all of those people? So if I got on a plane once a week per week to go see one person, every week I get on a plane and I go see one of those 100 people, that's 100 weeks of travel. That's almost 2 years for me to have relationships with all of the most influential people for my company, right? Or that can help me continue. Now, what Instagram allows me to do is stay connected to all 100 of those people in one day. One freaking day, I can talk to all 100 of those every single day. So you've done it. You've done that. You've pivoted.
And go back and visit them over and over and over. You don't have to get on a plane and go back to see them. You just get on Instagram and touch base with them.
When you're sending DM messages to people and you're asking for the Zoom meeting, right? Because I know you are still actively trying to grow your team. And you're obviously doing a good job at making sure the right people are on your bus, not just any person. So when you're having the conversations, what do they feel like to you? Like, as you're actively engaging in that, what does it actually feel like? And what would you tell someone who is like, oh, I can't do that. I can't send DM messages.
So I treat those DMs or those conversations, I start them as if I am interested in seeing if we have commonalities and can be friends, because like, no trust, right? They need to know who I am. So I need to be able to engage, talk to them, ask them about themselves, and hopefully they reciprocate that and it works into a natural conversation. The other thing I'll say is I do try to move, you mentioned Zoom, right? I hate not being able to be in person with people. It's something that is huge in my business. I like to hug on people. So COVID, even pre-COVID, right? Our world had changed so much. I do loans for people back east, so I never meet them. Zoom changed everything. It became a norm in our society, which is super cool to me. So I try to get them out of a DM as quick as I can and get them face to face with me, i.e. Zoom, because then I really get to know them. They've got kids. I get to see their kids or their life or whatever, because a lot of people work from home, right? So you get a glimpse into their world. And I'm somebody that cares. I want to know anything and everything that they are willing to share with me, right? So those DMs just start that, and then pulling them out of there onto a Zoom meeting, to me, then starts basically a lifelong journey with that individual. And hopefully one day we either work together as loan officers, or they're one of my clients for life in the future.
If you enjoyed this episode, please go follow my guests on social media. And if you enjoyed this podcast, please consider leaving us a review wherever you consume this content.